AMC is up about 4% on the day on some very positive news. They announced earnings are confirmed on November 8th. That is next Monday in after hours, as well as that they did confirm that October was their highest grossing revenue month in total since the pandemic did start in February of 2020. So this is obviously great news for anybody invested in AMC and for the business of AMC itself. I think this is just pricing in a lot of great things to come on earnings. We do know there's going to be some monster announcements that are going to change the game, potentially force shorts to cover. But in this video, I want to go over the fact that today is the day hedge funds and institutions are receiving up to 100% margin calls. And I want to go over this very briefly in the beginning of this video, because a lot of people seen the other video that I did do and said basically it was clickbait because they didn't watch the video. So we're gonna put that right in the beginning, and then we're gonna talk about this Fed meeting tomorrow, what analysts are expecting, and how this could affect AMC and this whole margin call situation. So if you guys get anything out of this video, hit that like button for me, consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about earnings? What is your price target? What is your price prediction? I personally think we're gonna hit all-time highs, and as history has showed us, about 4 weeks after earnings is where we hit all-time high. Well, not all-time highs, but we hit our highest point after earnings, and we have always had a very bullish response. 60% back in March, 1000% back in May, and a 100% gain back August 9. Just a 100% gain from here would take us to all-time highs, and as we do know, AMC is going to pivot its business model. So we're looking at some major catalysts. So we'll talk about that and everything else you guys need to know. But first off, before we get into that, the official sponsor of this video is Moomoo. You can trade anywhere, anytime, 0 commissions. They also do have free level 2 market data, which you have to pay for at other brokerage apps, 24/7 financial news, and a global investment community, much the same as public, as well as deep in-depth analysis on our favorite stocks, where company sentiment is, the inflows, the outflows, and much more on this investing app. If you use the link down below in the description of this video, you guys will be rewarded with up to $350 in free stock. I get a very small commission for doing that, so it's a win-win for everybody, and by commission I mean a free stock as well. So it is ultimately a win-win, and the best part about this is I've been doing some digging into the actual holding company, which is Futu Holdings Ltd. I might make a video on this because this company looks to be severely undervalued, and this is the owner of Moomoo. Great product. So ultimately, usually great products turn into great investments. And even take a look at this. Look at all these news updates. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that, but you got 5 short squeeze candidates to track, all these stocks, all these different news things that are beneficial to you guys as investors. So big fan of this, something I'm going to be actively using and bringing to your guys' attention more often. So like I said, link down below in the description for that. I do love and appreciate every single one of you guys. Let's get into this video. And AMC is up 3.76%, currently still just range bound in between $35 and $40 per share. We could see an earnings run up, and that's essentially people buying into earnings expecting good news, which I think we're going to get a lot more than good news, right? We're going to get AMC pivoting the whole business model. We're going to see AMC transform and start to bloom into a new company, and that brings higher multiples. That means and brings shorts potentially covering on their short positions. This is a good way to think about it. It's extremely over, simplistic and exaggerated analogy, right? But imagine if AMC wanted to do something along the lines of Amazon, right? Just totally different, higher revenue, higher potential revenue, and higher multiples of earnings. That I think you would have no choice but to cover on your short position. If AMC is a pure theater play, there's only so much upside, right? If they pivot, like Adam Aaron said, there's much more upside. So that is ultimately a big thing I am watching for on earnings, and that is, I don't think it's priced in by a lot of investors exactly what Adam Aaron did say. It didn't get much news coverage about him essentially going on to say that AMC is going to pivot into a whole different business model or business line that is not related to the theater industry as we know it. Didn't get much attention by media, so I don't think it's really being priced into earnings. So this is something I want to be a part of before earnings actually do happened. So that's a quick rundown of what you guys really need to know. But really the reason why AMC is rallying, like I said, we did get earnings confirmed on November 8th, so we could see a bit of a earnings run up, because obviously earnings are on Monday. So if you want to play earnings, you have to get into this week by Friday. Obviously no trading on the weekend, so I think that is a reason, as well as AMC did announce that October was its highest grossing revenue month since February of 2020, and they said that it actually surprised them as well. They don't have the actual numbers, so we didn't get any of that. We'll probably get that on earnings or later on throughout this week. But as well as that, something a lot of people are not familiar with is this margin call situation, and it's essentially taking a collateral haircut. So a margin call is you have to put up more collateral to your margin accounts to remain in your positions. If you cannot do that within, you know, depending on how bad your situation is, a couple hours or a couple days, you'll be forcefully liquidated on your position. And what is very interesting is this is what I actually used to bring this to you guys in a different video. If you click on this, it says the request document was not found, and I can't even find this on the DTC website, so who knows. But we got a picture of this right here. It's the date October 25th 2021 to all participants, category settlement from DTC risk management, and it says changes to DTC collateral haircuts beginning October 29th 2021 for settlement date November 1st, that is today. DTC will implement the following changes to modify the collateral value for certain securities, which may affect the value of positions applied to the collateral monitor. 1. United States agencies and GSE securities that are not rated AAA or AA will receive a haircut ranging between 5% to 35%. Those rated below AA will receive a 100% haircut. So AAA, AA, that's really your blue chip stocks, right? That's AAA. Your AAs are gonna be almost, you know, pretty close to blue chip stocks, but not quite there. Anything under that is, you know, going to be subject to a 100% haircut. And that essentially means, for a wild example, if you had $1 billion in your portfolio, $1 billion worth of margin, let's say you had $50 million of collateral for that $1 billion of margin. It's not the exact ratio, just bear with me. If you take a 100% haircut, that means that you have to deposit another $50 billion and increase your margin, your collateral amount about, you know, 100%. So double that up, meaning you'd have to go to roughly, you know, $100 million of collateral for your $1 billion margin debt. So that is the situation with that. But it says super national bonds rated AAA or AA will receive a haircut of 20%. So that's basically bonds outside of America, not American bonds, a haircut of 20%, because as we do know, you can use a lot as collateral. You can use bonds, you can use securities, preferably high, you know, quality securities is what they really like you to use, but everything is getting a haircut. Most securities with no active market price for 3 consecutive days will receive a 100% haircut. This will apply to new securities during the initial issuance stage and to active securities where DTC has not received a vendor price for 3 business days. The only exception to this rule will be mortgage-backed securities, MBS, issued by the U.S. agency or GSE. These securities will continue to receive a 100% haircut if DTC has not received a vendor price the prior business day. And what this is essentially telling us is that the markets are in choppy waters, and you will see articles about this and people talking about this, but it doesn't get too much attention by financial media. Big money is doing some weird things in the bond market. They are moving money around in a very weird way, as well as just all of the banks that have downgraded America's outlook and its growth outlook for 2022. Definitely not a good sign, as well as that the margin debt is almost at all-time highs, $903 billion of just U.S. margin debt. We are, like I said, approaching all-time highs. We are double as high as we were back in 2020. So this is not a good thing to see all this margin debt, to see all of these collateral requirements that are now coming into effect, as well as that we are seeing the reverse repurchase agreement market still at almost all-time highs. And this is showing you guys there is a need for high value value collateral. These are basically bonds. You park this money usually overnight or up to 13 days. You get paid a small interest rate, but you get these bonds that you can use as collateral if you need to. And these are, you know, US bonds. So this is one of the highest forms of collateral, if not the highest form of collateral. And like, you know, reverse repurchase agreement, experts have said in the past that we have covered many times, this either means there's too much cash in the system or a need for safe collateral. And I always think there is something you can do with a bunch of money, right? There's always investments you can buy. There's always things you can buy that yield you more than 0.005% interest. So I think this is really a need for high value collateral, given the margin debt situation, given all of the haircuts that we have been seeing, all these different rule changes and collateral requirement changes. I think this is pointing to something a lot bigger. And ultimately, guys, when it comes down to it, if the market for whatever reason does go into a downtrend, AMC would be affected, but it would come to a pivot point where there just wouldn't be enough money with these hedge funds and institutions accounts to remain in their AMC positions. The smaller hedge funds, they're the ones that cover first, and then the bigger guys go after that once the smaller guys have already driven the price up to extremely high levels. But like I said, guys, with earnings coming on November 8th, that is Monday, I do expect to see a major rally. This is something I want to make very clear for you guys. If you're not subscribed to this channel, this is something to pay attention to. March 10th, 2021, we went from about $8 all the way up to about $15. That was actually, you know, an 80% give or take move from the bottom to the top about 4 weeks after, well, 2 to 4 weeks after earnings. This was only about, you know, a week and a half after earnings. Back here in May 6, 2021, going from about $8 all the way up to almost $80, almost exactly 1 month to the day after earnings. Monster moves. And then back here August 9th, went from $28 all the way up to about $54 per share, a move of almost 100%. So there's obviously some big moves throughout 2021 after earnings. So I don't expect shorts to continue to sell AMC stock short. I don't know if there's going to be a big move into earnings. If we do see an earnings run up or not, hey, that's just extra icing on the cake. But I think it's really going to come down to what revenue numbers are for AMC, how close they are to profitability, and what they plan to do to pivot the business model. Like Adam Aaron did say, when you look back at AMC, the real success story is going to be looking at a company that was nearly bankrupt that now is much more than a theater play, and obviously a much better investment than it was just a couple of years ago. So very, very bullish on AMC. I cannot wait to see what they announce on earnings. But that is the rundown on this whole margin call situation. I think a lot of people just said it was clickbait in the last video. They didn't actually watch it. So hopefully you guys got some value out of this. Hopefully it makes some sense to you guys. Collateral haircuts is essentially saying, hey, you have X amount of money in your collateral account for your margin, then you're gonna have to deposit that much more percentage because your margin just got a big haircut. So that is the situation that may be playing into why AMC is actually popping today. I think this could give an overall boost to the meme stocks or highly shorted stocks in general, as some people, they're not going to have all of that extra collateral to put into their margin accounts, so they would be forced to cover on their short position. So that is the situation. Hopefully that makes some sense to you guys. Hopefully that did clear the air. Before we get out of here, again, Moo, if you guys want to be a part of that, I will see you over there. There's a social aspect of Moo as well, so I will see you guys over there. You'll have my code. If you use the link down below, you'll know my profile and all of that. Gonna start using that very, very actively, and I'm gonna start investing in the stock. Let me know if you guys want a video on this actual company. Up about 5% today, looks to be undervalued given the revenue numbers that they bring in, much more than even Robinhood. So that is the situation. Like the video, consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know in the comment section what is your price prediction for AMC stock coming on earnings. And this stock is actually up 6% now, a little bit nutty on the day. But that's going to be all. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.